Aloha. I can never resist. I love it. I love it. Oh, okay. Easily distracted. Aloha. This is God's Girl. Broadcasting live. Oh, wait. Is that my room? Oh, no. I'm on the side of the building like, is that my room right there? I don't know. Anyway. This is God's Girl broadcasting live poolside, Honolulu, Hawaii. December 11, 2017. 4:45 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time. Still kind of early. I'll wait a few minutes. Let's see if a few people want to come on and experience the live version. Just want to say aloha, aloha. So anybody can replay. Thank you. Please share, follow, tag your family, your friends, your enemies, because we know they need deliverance most. And where's the good lighting? It's all good. And oh, what a journey. What a journey. What a journey. What a life. What a fellowship. What a joy divine. Leaning on the everlasting arms. Leaning, safe and secure from all alarms. Oh, that's perfect for right now. Leaning on, leaning on the everlasting arms. Leaning on the arms, God, all day, every day. So anyway, welcome everyone. Thank you for sharing a little bit of time with God's Girl today. This is my 7-year prophetic update. And it just hit me. I don't know about y'all, but I love the Facebook memories. They just help me keep my life on track. It caused me to really reflect and testify and see where I was and where I am and where I still have to go. But just being grateful for every turn, every leg of the journey, the good, bad, and the other. Yeah, I appreciate God. It was good for me that I had been afflicted, because if not, I wouldn't have known the ways of the Lord. So anyway, I try to make it short and sweet. Probably ain't going to be short or sweet, but we shall try. Just want to come to you today with my 7-year prophetic update, because it was 7 years ago today that God actually sent me to this very island. I thought I could come to work on a cruise ship, but he had actually used a cruise ship to pay the bills to get me here. And what I mean is, 3 years prior to my coming, I had been having vision and dream after dream. As anybody who knows me, anybody close, I had been having several dreams of Hawaii. And I didn't understand it because it wasn't a bucket list. I had already come here on a vacation, visiting friends years ago when I was a flight attendant, came first class, even business. So as far as Hawaii was concerned, I was good. This island anyway. But God kept pressing on me about Hawaii, Honolulu, Hawaii. And I'm like, okay. So I just wrote it down, as I often do, write the vision, make it plain. Because at the right time, it's going to talk. It's going to happen. And though it tarry, wait on it. Because it won't tarry, because it's for an appointed time. Sometimes it seems like we're waiting forever, but it's just that we don't know the appointed time. But that's a whole nother sermon. But it will happen. It will speak. So, 3 years, I've been having visions and dreams of Hawaii. In August, well, no, let me back up. In June of 2010, I was working on the Spirit of Norfolk, and I had a woman come to me, and she was drunker than Cooter Brown, whoever Cooter Brown is. But she grabbed me by my arm and said, you need to go work on a mainline cruise ship. Because, of course, on the Spirit of Norfolk, I would sing and serve, and so people would hear me sing, and, they would approach me. Now, when she said it, such an amazing conviction hit me in that moment. And prior to that, several people told me that I should have, attempted to go in entertainment on a mainline cruise ship, but it didn't really rest with my spirit. And in addition, my godmother, who was working for the cruise ship that I thought I came here to work on, she had begged me to come because y'all know I'd been years me dealing with homelessness and just struggling financially with family and friends, just going through. And she was like, Paula, come get on the ship. You don't have to pay any rent. You live on the ship. They pay you. You work on the ship. Everything. You get 5 months on, 5 weeks off. You get unemployment. That's I'm like, he's running down to me like, you can stack money and do whatever you want to do with your life. But I kept, even though it sounded like a great offer, in that moment, in that season, it just didn't rest in my spirit that that's what I was supposed to do. So moving back forward to June 2010, this woman on the Spirit and Offer grabs me. She's like, you need to go work on a mainline cruise ship. And when she said it, it hit my spirit like 10 bricks. And I knew that she was right. So after she said it, I reached out to my godmother, who was still on the Hawaii ship at the time, just asking her, how do I go about getting on this ship? And she told me what to do. It was June, but I still didn't do it. I had the information, but I still didn't move on it. So in August of 2010, I was about to lay down and take a nap. I would never forget this. I was enjoying my twin's couch. My twin Buttercup, Siobhan Brimage. Shout out to my twin, y'all. She allowed me the luxury of her couch, and that's where I rested. I had so much peace there. And as I was about to take a nap, I heard the Holy Ghost say, go apply for that job. Get online. Apply for that cruise ship. And I'm like, no, I'm about to take a nap, daughter. And this was like the middle of August. It was whatever that Friday was in 2010, like the 16th or the 17th. I would never forget this. That's when it was. And I was like, okay. So I get online. Now, mind you, I'm in Norfolk, Virginia, Portsmouth, Virginia at this date, on this moment. On that coming Wednesday, which was August the 25th, like not even a full week, this very ship was having an open house in Washington, D.C., which we all know is like a 2.5, 3 hour ride. I didn't have any money. I didn't have a car. I was like, okay, God, what we going to do? So I made a post on Facebook and I prophesied over myself. I said, if someone can take me to Washington, D.C. this coming Wednesday, I can pay for gas and food. Sure enough, my mama responded to that message and she was like, I can take you, no problem. And then another good friend, matter of fact, my sister Allison, I'm shouting you out. I had loaned her $100, which she and I, you know, just want to have that money so much, you just forget. Like, you know you're going to get it eventually, whether it's dinner, whatever. You just don't worry about it. But sure enough, I had loaned her $100 and forgot about it. And she hit me back. She said, well, I can't take you, but I got this $100 I owe you. I was like, oh. So there it was. In less than 24 hours, I had my ride and the gas and the food money. So sometimes you just got to make a declaration or two. So I called my daughter, who is now my daughter, Tanika, and Tanika Porter, TP. Shout out to Styles by Tanika. Look, y'all, go on IG, Styles by Tanika, Facebook, Tanika Porter. She's the baddest hairstylist in the 757, and she's going global. And you heard it here first. Call me when it happened. Anyway, Tanika was cornrolling my hair at that time. I called her. I'm like, baby, look, I need my hair done. I don't have any money right now when we get paid, because we work together on the Spirit of Norfolk. I said, I got you. She was like, okay, no problem. She's like, well, where you going? I said, I'm going to this job interview. And I was telling her I was going on a cruise ship. She was like, oh my God, I always wanted to go to Hawaii and go on a cruise ship and blah, blah, blah. I said, well, come go on the interview. And so she was like, okay. So sure enough, got my hair braided up. She and I went on the interview. They hired us on the spot. This is August the 25th, 2010. They hired us on the spot, gave us all the instructions, and it was a matter of, from August to December is the time it took for us to get our background check done, get our TWIC card, our travel passes, get everything we needed. The interesting thing about that, we worked on the Spirit of Norfolk, and all of the supervisors there had to have a TWIC card. And they all knew, that we were going for this job, and it was like, oh, wow, it takes 4 to 6 weeks for you to get the task back and blah, blah, blah. We had our pass in less than a week. Matter of fact, I think we went there on a Monday. My mom or my dad took us. One of them took us that Monday. And by that Saturday, I never forget, we were at work on the Spirit of Norfolk this Saturday morning, and the email came in. Your TWIC card is ready. And I was like, what? And nobody could believe it. So what I'm saying this to say, when God is saying it's time for you to do something, He will expedite, He will Federal Express, like, catapult, fast track. If you're like kind of behind the curve on some things, He will fast track things to get you where you need to be, to get you where He needs you to be. Because again, I already had instructions from God about coming to Hawaii. So this was His project, not mine. So literally in less than a week, we had our TWIC cards, and after that, we started getting the emails and everything we needed from the company to schedule our training. So we fly out here on December 11th, 2010. This is 7 years today. And we get on the ship. The training was on the ship. You have to do this Coast Guard test. Every day it's like information. And my brain, I haven't even time to process stuff. I'm a genius by default. However, when it comes to certain, big lumps of information, I need time to process stuff. So anyway, that week was very strenuous for me because it was so much information so fast. Safety rules, learning the parts of the ship, learning the different fire hazards. It was too much. So long story short, I did not pass the Coast Guard test. And a lot of people think I actually worked on the ship. No, I spent about a week on the ship doing it from December 11th to December 18th. And on December 18th, they bought me a ticket to come home to Virginia. Well, Miss Selena, I'm going to get you. You're in trouble. Why don't he do it every day? I'm going to get you. I'm going to have my people call your people. You better answer the phone. Now, this is a threat. This is a real live public threat. I'm going to have some people come looking for you. I love you. But they gave me a ticket back to Virginia. But I heard God said stay. And I was just like, but stay where? I had like $8 in my pocket. Of course, I had a little check come for that week, but still, stay where? How? What? Sure enough, a friend of mine from home was living here in the Air Force. God said, call him and tell him you need to stay. I'm like, this man gonna think I'm out of my mind. I called him. You would think we had plans for him to come pick me up. I mean, he was like, okay, sure, cool, I'm on the way. And sure enough, he was on the way. And for him, it was nice because he was here alone. His family's in Virginia. So just to see a familiar face and, to have at the house during the holiday, that was nice. And, he introduced me to his friends and we went out, had a good time. And then some of his friends now, which I talk to him sparingly, maybe through the social media, but some of his friends now are still very dear friends to me today and still support the movement. They support the Chronicles. Like, you never know what God has lined up, who He has lined up. So, I'm not going to tell this whole story now. This is just the little 7-year prophetic update. Brian, the young man that I stayed with, he was a member of this church. God had me to connect that church. Before I came, I had told God, I won't go into no more churches. Right. That's what I told him. But he had another plan, prophet. Like, yeah, you are. You gonna go. You gonna say what I say. Yeah, you get it. You understand. So Brian was connected to the ministry that God ended up having to go to. And that, I tell you, that ended up being a major training and growing ground for me. I'll go into those details on another filter. But in that time, I was here for a year and a half. In that time, I had didn't really release me to work until way at the end, almost time to leave. He released me to some, oh Lord, that bird, I'm like, yeah, what that? He released me to some little odds and ends jobs and working on the Star Honolulu singing jazz, and then the temp agency who I've been signed on with for 100 years, who I'm still working with now. They found me something after almost a year. After almost a year, they found work. It was crazy. God had me just in a holding pattern, just interceding and studying the ministry, and studying spirit. I was on the OJT, learning about the spirit of Jezebel and how to function with it. And just a whole another Unfiltered. We'll do that later to all my prophets. I know you want to know. But in any case, how he provided for me in that season was I had money supernaturally showing up in my bank account. No, I'm telling you, I had money, $1,000, $1,100, and then there was times where people didn't even know that I wasn't on the ship, and God was juggling their spirit, and they would text me or call me like, God is telling me to send you $100. When I tell you, for about a month, every week somebody was either mailing or depositing $100 into my bank account. That was before I had PayPal and Cashapp and all of that. Like, God was speaking to somebody's spirit. People here, like, I came with one little suitcase to work on a cruise ship. People here was giving me all kind of clothes, and I don't mean just any kind of clothes. I mean the best clothes on the rack. Because anybody who knows me, now, thanks to Miss Selena and Carvella, and which was then the Princess and Thrift, is now the Niche. Everybody go to the Niche, 2432 Ingleside Road, Norfolk, Virginia. It's gonna bless your whole life. They have turned me into a label whore. This guy's girl unfiltered. I'm gonna just tell it like it is. These ladies, thank you, have turned me into a label whore. Thank you, and that's what I like. But, howsoever, as my friend Bernie would say, Uncle B, I don't have to pay what people pay for it. It's either gifted to me or I get it for pennies on the dollar. So now I'm addicted to the good stuff. So that's that. But my point is, everything that people was giving me was of the highest quality, the best pieces of clothes on the rack. So, I was getting clothes, like everything I needed was being provided to me. Housing, food, just like God was just sending people. They were being obedient to fund the journey. It was like, when he sent the prophet Elijah into the woman's house in different places, and they made provisions. That is journey. It's on house to house, place to place. And when they took heed to the word that God would have me to share, God would multiply them, and then they would multiply me. And that's how the Bible is real. I mean, some people question, and I have questions too. I'm not going to front. I'm going to straight up tell y'all on the World Wide Web that I sometimes question the timetables, and because I read stuff other than the Bible. Okay, is that all right with y'all? I know it ain't, but it's all right with me. And so there's other pockets of information that I believe that are also true that sometimes have me question certain things. However, I don't question it because I've seen too much for it to not be right. Until I find another way to interpret what I'm experiencing, then that's what it is. So my point is, this prophetic journey, the life of the prophets, when the prophets speak and the people are obedient, it does what it says it's going to do. There is multiplication. There is increase. There is the prophet reward. That there is blessing for suffering. It's so much. But my point is, I was releasing what God had me to release, and the people were sustaining me. And it was hard. It was a very hard, difficult season. Again, I'll go back over that in another Unfiltered. Like, I was getting my butt kicked in the spirit because I was on the OJT, going head to head with like a high-ranking Jezebel chief spirit. Like, y'all don't even know. But I was here for it anyway. I was here for a year and a half. I survived it. I really should not have survived it, but I did. And when I came back to Virginia in May 2012, I was only coming for the summer. I was only supposed to come for the summer and just hang out a few months and come back. But in that time, I met my husband, who is now my ex-husband. So I went away with him, had to leave him, came back to Virginia, and it was from May 2012 to May 2017 that God had me return. In those 5 years, God was still speaking to me about Hawaii. Like, the message, it never stopped. He was just like, don't get too comfortable, you're going back. I didn't think it was going to take 5 years to get back, but he kept reminding me, don't get too comfortable, you're going back. I didn't really take heed to that. It's like hindsight being 2020. I didn't know that's what he was saying, and I was trying to make myself comfortable, just try to get a job, get a place, and everything I tried just backfired in my face. Nothing worked, nothing manifested. So finally, everything began to dry up. When it came around to like last year, the top of last year, things began to dry. The top of 2016 started one of the driest seasons I've ever seen in my life. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, relationship. I mean, it was the worst. I thought literally I was losing my mind. There were periods that I literally begged God, do not take my mind. Lakeisha McCain Perkins, praise God, daughter, aloha. I literally felt like I was losing my mind, but it's because I was just shifting my mind. He was moving me from one place to the other. It was already done in the spirit. It was just a process of time for it to manifest in the natural. It was causing me uncomfortable so that I could comfortable, if that makes any sense. Because he knew that he had some comfortable things waiting for me here. Some things to give me peace, some things for my health, finances. Again, I don't want nobody to think I'm rich and balling. However, I'm not broken, suffer like I was once before. Twin, bug meow. What's up, girl? Oh, I miss you, twin. This island ain't the same without y'all. I love you so much. And I appreciate, look, y'all, shout out to Rachel Nicole. Okay, please, I'm sorry, I don't know how to say that African name. However, when I tell you God used this woman of God, I'm so glad you're on here because I got to shout you out. God used this woman of God. She opened her home and her heart to me and her family, and they made me a part of the family. Like, when we would go out and do stuff, nobody knew that I wasn't literally a relative. Like, we was family. There was nothing in her home that I wasn't welcome to. Her family, I mean, I was home, family there, and I thank God for you, Rachel. I'm sitting here talking about my 7-year report from when God sent me to Hawaii the first time. So God used this woman of God to facilitate an amazing season, and I appreciate it. So where was I? Okay, God started dealing with me beginning of last year, and things started drying up. And then around May or June, I thought I was coming to Hawaii then. But what he had me do was just start downsizing stuff. Anybody who know me, I started giving away a bunch of clothes, getting my papers in order, make sure I had things situated with my bank account and whatever, so that when I shifted to the island, I could do business. I'll be straight. Putting things in storage that needed to be in storage. And but I didn't move yet, and I was about to come. A buddy pass was made available to me. We coming back. Come back. Hey, girl, come on back. I need you. I need you, baby. This island ain't the same without you, baby. So I was just getting things in order, and I had a buddy pass in place. When they gave me a ticket, but I didn't know where I was going to stay. I didn't have any money, and I was nervous about it. But I knew God was telling me to get myself together, and just in that moment that I was packed and ready to go, I had like an Abraham put down your knife experience. He's like, not yet. No. And he was just testing my obedience, to see if I would go without having the provisions or somewhere to stay. Like, I literally was going to get on the airplane, and on the other side of that flight, just trust God was going to show me where he was going to have me lay my head. And so because I put my faith on the table, and anybody who's on this live that knows that I was about to do that, and I had my bag packed, please hashtag your neighbor and say, she crazy. Yes, she was going to do it. Hashtag she crazy. Yes, she was going to do it. So, but God was like, no, not yet. So I was like, phew, oh Lord, okay. So it's from that whole year, other things just began to happen. Other things began to manifest. I'm like, okay, God, and I was just waiting. I was packed, and I was waiting. So finally, this year rolled around, and when it was time to go, I had met some people here. He opened the door for me to come here for an interview at the beginning of May. Dee, baby, I don't care how many people, how many likes on that thing. You gonna tell me what's going on. I was just about to text you and talk trash after I did this live. But God sent me here that week, and I'm thinking I'm gonna get the job with the airline, Hawaiian Air. I had applied for them last year, and they following up with me months later talking about come for an interview. So, but in that week, God sent me here to meet some core people that would be instrumental in sustaining me when I first came. Prophetess Lena, hey girl, I love you so much. And that's what that first week was about. I was here for 9 days. I came on a one-way ticket, and then the funds were made available for me to get a buddy pass going back. Thank God for my mama. God used her to provide funds for me to take a buddy pass to get back home. And I was like, okay, God, because I didn't know if I was going to just be staying then. But he didn't have me to stay. He said, you're going back to Virginia, you're going to tie up some loose ends, and you're coming back. That's exactly what he told me. Now, when? I didn't know. He had told me a year ago I was coming, but here I still was. So, sure, just as he said it, the next day when I got back, 2 days later, a woman of God who covered me when I first came here with somebody, she called me. She said, God said you're going to be back by the 1st of June. Now, mind you, this was the middle of May because I came back to Virginia on Mother's Day after the interview. So I'm like, okay. I went ahead and settled the little loose ends that were needed to be settled in that moment. And a few days later, the hit came. Hey, let's go to Hawaii. And I'm like, for a vacation, one of my sisters works for Delta. I'm like, baby, I'm trying to go for good. But I said, my paper ain't right. She said, well, I got $100 on it. I'm like, what? I didn't even ask. When God starts really moving and manifesting stuff for you, you don't even have to ask. He's going to bring it all to you, because it's just like being in the military. It's like he has to take care of you when you're on orders. He gives you the orders and he has to make the provision. So yeah, sometimes you're kind of concerned because it's human nature, but don't be stressed out about it, because all you have to do is follow the orders. If he don't say nothing, don't do nothing. But when he speaks, regardless of what it sounds or looks like, do it. That's all I got for you. So she hit me up. I got 100. I said, okay, well, let me check with my son who flies, who's a flight attendant too, and he had tickets as a flight attendant, but with his tickets, you didn't have to pay right away. So I was like, maybe I can just give him that 100. And I had canceled my cab contract because God said I was going. I said, when I get my check back from the cab contract, then I can pay him the rest of the money. Sure enough, he said, cool, let's do it. I got you. So I sent him that 100. He booked my ticket. So I literally came back on May 30th, 2017 on a one-way buddy ticket and with $40 in my pocket. But this time, I knew where I was going to stay. And even though where I was going to stay, I knew it wasn't going to be permanent. At least the transition to the island, God let me know where I was going to stay. So I knew where I was going to stay. The woman of God covered me. I had met another gentleman I was telling y'all about the last time. When I came the week of the interview, God used him to be a blessing, to cover and sustain. I mean, that week that I came for the interview was just for me to just form a relationship with people that were going to see me through as I transition. So now here I am in obedience to God. This is 2 times in obedience to come to this island. 7 years later, because the time that I was here 7 years ago was the preamble to now. I was here, I was spying out the land, I was becoming acquainted with the territories spiritually and naturally. I was making relationships with people. I didn't know that then. This is all hindsight. Then I just thought somebody was playing a dirty joke on me because I was getting my hips kicked in the spirit. But, you know, as they say, the race is not given to the swift nor the strong, but to those that endure to the end. Because I saw several other prophets and apostles that God sent into this land, and they went back to the mainland with their head tucked between their legs. For whatever reason, they couldn't take it. And I don't make light of it because it is hard. It is hard. When God is sending you into a territory to deal with certain spirits that have reigned and controlled, that have this land under bondage for ages, you got something on your hands. It's a lot. I mean, I literally had prayer cells in Virginia and all different places around the country of people, prophets and apostles, that would set up prayer times with me and say, hey, don't go there, don't go out the house today, turn left, turn right. It was that crucial. It was just like being in the military, on the battleground, and you're getting instructions like from the intelligence team, because they can see what you can see because you're in it. That's why you always have to have a strong prayer circle, strong intercessors surrounding you. You cannot do it by yourself. You might be literally physically by yourself, but spiritually you have got to have people that you're accountable to, that are praying for you, covering you, because you cannot do this by yourself. So to all y'all arrogant, think you know everything, prophets out here, I think it's tricked up. So let me say that again. To all y'all arrogant, think you know everything, prophets, you better get some covering. And when I say covering, I'm not always talking about a four-wall church setting, because that may not be how God has wired you. I'm not always wired like that. But know where you're supposed to be, who's supposed to be covering you, who fathers, who's covering you, not controlling you, but covering you so that you can effectively do what God has called you to do. Because if it were not for these prayer cells, these intercessory groups covering me, these people that I was accountable to and accountable over me, I probably would have died. And when I say died, maybe not even necessarily physically be dead, but be like a dead man walking. Because the spirit of Jezebel comes to drain the life out of the prophets so that we won't declare the authenticity of God's word, as opposed to the false prophets that she dispatches. But again, that's a whole nother unfiltered. But so that time that I was here previously just laid the groundwork for now. So when I came back this time, I wasn't a foreigner in this land, and everybody was like, welcome home. And I was home, and I am home, because even though I went through everything I went through, this island called for me. This island welcomed me. It called for me. And so this, my heart, I have a heart of aloha. Like the aloha is real. Aloha is not just something funny to say. Aloha is real. It's a spirit. It's a way of life. It's a way of being. It's a whole entire culture all by itself. And so this island welcomed me in my heart of aloha. So my return was a welcome home, because what I went through before was my opportunity to kind of lay a foundation in the spirit for what I would be experiencing now. So now, not only am I growing and reaping in the things of the spirit, but there's also tangible rewards because I was obedient, because I continued to seek God. And I did cut the food sometimes. I did cut the food quite a bit because it hurts, painful. Like, why do these people treat me? What is this? What is this? I didn't know at that time, but hindsight, I know that they weren't fighting me. It was spiritual. We don't wrestle against flesh. It was spiritual, and he knew that my heart was pure for God, and that if God had me to say anything or release anything that was even maybe to expose them, then I would do it. And they didn't want that. So when I tell you I had threats and all kinds of, I was bribed to leave the island. And I'm going to just insert this one little piece. 2 weeks before someone tried to bribe me to leave the island, the apostle that was praying over me at that time, she called me, and she didn't even know that this was going on, what I was experiencing. She said, the spirit of Jezebel that runs that island has recognized you and what you walk in, and don't be surprised I'm going to bribe you off that island. Sure enough, 2 weeks later, somebody was offering to buy me a plane ticket to get up off this island, because they knew what I was going through. They knew I was having a tight time. But I had to look them in the eye and say, although I wanted to take that ticket and come back to Norfolk, I had to look them in the eye and said, thank you, but no thank you. God sent me here, and I cannot leave until he gives a fresh instruction. And I did not leave until he gave a fresh instruction. So, 7-year prophetic update. I said all of that to say this. Obey God. He honors his word. When I was here 7 years ago, God made a promise to me in this island, and it's out of Deuteronomy 11. And I'm not going to read it all now, but it basically just talks about the prosperity health, wealth, everything that he promised me in this island. There's some things that God has promised you that is specific to a geographical location. I'm going to say that again because I think it froze up. There's some things that God will promise you that are specific to a geographical location. When he's telling you to move, move. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter what you do have. It doesn't matter where you're going. It doesn't matter. Just go. Just be obedient. I'm telling you, not what I heard, what I know. I am living this right now. I am living this right now. People thought I was crazy. They was like, oh girl, you ain't going to Hawaii. Da, 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 da. I'm back a second time. No, third, fourth time since then. Since that time, I done flew back and forth to this island 4 times and live here, living in prime real estate. I'm at home right now. Well, y'all know I'm evicted, but in the meantime, I'm still at home right now with the pool, jacuzzi, the grills, chilling in the cut, gated community. You know, like, and I can't afford, my bank account don't dictate me living here. My obedience to God dictates me living here. And the next move is going to be an upgrade, because each move since I've been here has been an upgrade. Each move. And I still don't have a deposit. I didn't have a deposit when I came here. I still don't have the first month rent. But I got the word that says, without faith, it's possible to please God. The only impossibility I ever saw, and I haven't exhausted all 66 books, but I done flipped through quite a few pages. Without faith, it is impossible to please God. You got to know that he is, and that he rewards them that diligently seek him. And so my claim to fame is seeking God. Love God, hear God, obey God. That's the mantle, that's the foundation for which I live my life. So I ain't that great. I just do what the Lord say. So I hope that you all can take from this to let your claim to fame be, I obey God. I obey God. That's it. There's no other purpose in this earth other than obeying God. He created you for a reason. You did not create yourself. So that when we go off on a tangent and become distracted by the things of this world, and trust me, I'm not being arrogant or boastful, because I know that we are born into sin and shaped into iniquity, and we are born into this society, into this system, and it's hard to undo that stuff. It was hard for me. I'm not saying it was easy for me to make these moves when I made them, but I made them. And on the backside of that obedience, yes, initially there was hell to pay, so I thought, but I was just being refined in the fire. I wasn't in hell, I was just in the refiner's fire. God just, daily and still refining, making me more and more usable for his work, more and more suitable for his work, dropping off the flaws day by day, but still using me in the midst of the flaws that remain. in the midst of the flaws that remain, because of the flaws that remain, still using me. So the 7-year prophetic update is, I obey God, and he's honoring his word. I am living an amazingly blessed life on this island. Yes, I still have chronicles. I still have problems, challenges, but I had to change my dialect and say I'm not going through, but I'm growing through. And so I'm just going through with a smile, growing through with a smile, and still giving him glory, because the reality is, at the end of the day, no matter what happened, I'm still in paradise. And I'm about to go watch the sunset now and enjoy some dinner. I go to the beach most days. I don't post all the time because it just ain't enough time to post all the time, but I go to the beach most days. Even not necessarily get in the water, I might just come out here, aim by the pool, I just go enjoy the sunset. I mean, just to be able to be minutes from the most beautiful sunset, one of the most beautiful sunsets in the world, is enough for me. Even if I didn't live in this condo or by the pool or whatever, just being able to get into that water, into that ocean, I have my float and I just drift off and I begin to cry and worship and just thank God for allowing me to live in this place. I don't know how long my time is here, but while I'm here, While I'm here, I appreciate that I'm in paradise. It's 72, 75 degrees right now, and I swear I'm cold. It's freezing. But I'm out here with flip-flops on and no sweater. Like, I'm cold. So, I'm just grateful to breathe this air, to enjoy the sunshine, to walk around with my afro and ain't nobody judging me. Like, people don't care about that stuff over here. They just don't. We're just happy to be in Hawaii, even Aloha. So I can walk around with my Super Pro and it's all right. I can just be free. I can be me. I have peace. Yes, I do miss some things about home. I miss some people. I get lonely sometimes. But then God will just come in with a blessing to make me forget that I was even lonely. He'll come in with free tickets to a concert or, an invitation to a beautiful dinner. Or last week sent AC on and the crew in town. They need their own segment. I'm going to talk about them later. But he sent this lady in town to bring them VA love, and we had a time. I mean, oh my God. We had a time. So now not only did I, get some VA love, but establish some new relationships, some good new relationships, which is always a plus. So the 7-year prophetic update is I obeyed God and he honored his word. And so the message to you is obey God because he honors his word. I never forget Apostle Al Jones said this, God bless him. He's kind of like the father in faith to me. He said, if you never step out on faith, you will miss out on such an amazing adventure. There are no truer words that I think I've ever heard spoken. The good, bad, and in the middle, it has been all of that and then some. An amazing adventure. So hey, I love you. I love you so much. I do this for y'all because for real, I would rather not go live and talk and had to pop my lip gloss and wear out hair. I just would rather not. But I said share because we're overcome. I saw in light of today being December 11, 12/11, Revelation 12:11. This is the word for this day. Is we are overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. So that's what gives us strength. That's what gives us power and victory. Is when we share our testimonies with each other. Because if I can make it through, then so can you. And if you can make it through, then so can I. Because he is no respecter of person. No respect. God loves us all so much. So much so. If anyone is led to sow a seed into the God's Girl Unfiltered movement, everything, PayPal, Cashapp, Venmo, my address is all in the title information of this video. Thank you. I pray and labor over your seed. Thank you so much. I'm really on a supernatural journey, and everyone who sows the seeds, they receive a supernatural response, a prophet's reward, and I thank God for showing me that and giving me that type of impartation for his people. So I love you. Please tag, please follow, please share with your family, friends, and your enemies, because them jokers sure need deliverance. So I love you. I love you. I love you so much. Aloha. Aloha. Thanks for listening, guys.